Hello, with this session, we are going to start into the new module, which talks about probability distribution. So actually, we are not going to study probability. We are going to use probability for now different topics such that reliability testing or acceptance sampling, or much simpler what we have already seen in statistics earlier, which is hypothesis testing. So let's just recap what probability distribution and the random variable was, and then once you have all the back revision and all the formulas and things are clear, we can directly jump to the hypothesis testing. So let's start with that, a quick revision. We have a random variable generally denoted as x. What does that mean is, if we do or an event occurs in which x is denoted as a random variable and x is an outcome of that event, then what the outcome of that event cannot be said as a certain value or certain outcome. We cannot predict perfectly 100%. It is a random kind of thing that this may occur, this may not occur, something other can occur. So that output or that outcome of that event is called as a random variable. Example, we throw a dice. What comes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know. All, if there is, it is a fair dice, there are equal possibilities of any 1 to 6 number can appear on the top. Then we had probability distribution function. So it was denoted by small f of x, and it denoted that what is the probability at that specific point, um, value of that random variable x. Then we had probability density function. So probability distribution function was defined for discrete variables, discrete random variables, and probability density function will be defined for continuous variables, continuous random variables, that is also small f of x. And in here we are going to use a specific point. Then comes the cumulative distribution function. So that means that till a value of x. So starting from the leftmost part. So let's say the random variable capital X can vary from 0 to 10. Then at specific values such as x is equal to 1.5, we can define probability density function or probability distribution function. But then when we want to define cumulative distribution function, that will account that till the value of till the x is equal to 1.5, we add all the probabilities left to it. So that means starting from 0 to 1.5, all the probability values will be added, and that will give me the value of cumulative distribution function. And then we have expected value of x, which is called as mu or mean generally, and it is denoted by e of x, that is expected value of x. Then we have variance of x, whose formula was whose definition is this, but we can simplify it and get a simpler formula, which is like this. And we know that this value is also equal to mean. So this can be simplified further, and we need to only find the value of this term. The second term value, which is mu square, can be directly found from the expected value of x. Then we have discrete distribution, whose that means that if my random variable was varying from 0 to 10, that means that the possible values of x, if x is a discrete random variable, will be x is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, and the natural number going till 10. And the second is the continuous distribution. That means that if my random variable x is varying from 0 to 10 and it is a continuous random variable, that means x can take any value which is an integer between 0 to 10. That means that it can have fractional values. It will be like p by q from all the different possibilities, p by q from which lies between 0 to 10. So this was the quick revision. Now we'll go into some details of discrete and continuous distribution. I'll just define those things. So we're starting from discrete distribution or discrete random variable. First is independent Bernoulli's trial, or generally we say it as Bernoulli's trial. That means that in an event we have some probability of success which will not change throughout the event, and there are only two possible outcomes. Either we success or there is a failure. So there is only two outcomes. That's how we define Bernoulli's trial. Then we have binomial distribution. That means that it denotes that the number of successes we get in some n number of experiments. So there are two variables in this. the number of experiments and the probability of getting a success in each experiment or each event. So that is binomial distribution. Then we have geometric distribution, which was defined as the number of trials which are required to get first success, or alternatively, we can also define it as the number of trials before first success. It depends the range in which the X value will depend, but both definitions are complete. Then the next is hypergeometric distribution. So it is a bit more complex, where we have some n number of total items, and we take some small n number of items from the lot of capital N number of items, and we want a favorable number of items, that the items of interest are R, and a formula is given. So it is not very much experimentally intuitive. Then we have Poisson's distribution. So that means it is a distribution of discrete quantities over an interval. Example, the number of customers in a barber shop from some time, some morning time to evening time. So the time is going to vary continuously. So it is going to have an interval. So 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. But the number of customers are coming are discrete. Then we have discrete uniform distribution, where the possibility of each outcome is equal. Then we go to continuous distribution. So continuous random variable. So starting with uniform continuous distribution, it is obviously very same as what we had earlier in discrete, just that the interval, the specific point x is equal to some value a is now going to change with some interval. So now we are going to define x is equal to some interval a to b. Then we have gamma distribution. It is more mathematically defined, but we should remember that gamma function or gamma distribution takes two variables. We can say alpha and beta. So those are the variables we need to provide, and then at different values of x, we'll have different values of gamma random variable. Then we have exponential distribution. It is used it is defined with respect to time. So the time taken till which it will run properly. So it is going to be helpful when we define reliability of a product or an assembly which has multiple parts. Then we have chi-square distribution. So it is a special case of gamma random variable, where we define degrees of freedom with respect to one of the variable of gamma function. Then we have normal distribution. So that is the most interesting distribution, most realistic distribution, most useful one, which we are going to rely on for most of the part of this course. It has the mean and standard deviation, which we have defined already earlier. Then the standard normal. So it is the standardized form of normal distribution in which mean is 0 and the standard deviation is 1. And obviously, since the standard deviation is 1, variance is also 1. 1 square is equal to 1. And then we have log normal distribution. So these are the mathematical functions when we define on normal distribution, so do some changes and define mostly mathematically. There are no events associated with this. Then we have Weibull distribution. So these were some of the distributions. We have T distribution and F distribution. So the bold one over here are the ones we need to be thorough with what they mean, what are their probability density functions, cumulative density functions, and how are they defined. So these are the things we need to be clear with for this bold type of distributions, and the same goes with the discrete. So generally we will not directly deal with discrete, but it will be useful when we have normal distribution and the sample size is so large that given some conditions that NP is equal to or greater than 5 less than 5 different things, we can convert normal distribution to binomial and Poisson distribution. This is favorable because we can easily get the values of this binomial and Poisson distribution sometime. And alternatively, we can also change from binomial Poisson to normal distribution. So most of the distributions can be changed in between to easily get the values of the probability functions. So we should be thorough with what this means and using the charts. So in the book of Amitabha Mitra, in the appendix, the charts are given where the probabilities are mentioned. So as I said, the binomial will take one variable n, and the other variable, the outcome will be the probability. So NPX is what we need to understand again or recall back the permutation combination. So you should be able to read this, that if we are given n number of experiments, then we can either have 0 or 1 success, and the probability, according probability of success, if they are given, that probability of success is 0.1 in two experiments or two events. If we want to get no success, then the probability will be 0.81, or if we want to get one success, it will be 0.990, and accordingly. The same goes with, so there are long tables which are given for different values of n. Then similarly, there are table for cumulative Poisson distribution. So that's one. Then we have cumulative standard normal. So there are no tables for standard. There are no tables for normal distribution. All the tables are for standard normal. So you always need to convert from X random variable to normal distribution, and then convert from normal distribution to standard normal distribution. Then the table is also there. So over here, the probability is defined with this shaded area. So that is to the left of that point X or point Z. But when we go to the other one, which is the T distribution, over here, the right sided area is being denoted. So you should be careful with using standard normal and T distribution. And over here, these are the degrees of freedom 1, 2, 3, which I explained earlier. Then we have chi-square, which is also the right-sided area. So from specific value or point X, the right-sided area under that curve is defined as the total probability. And over here also we have the list of different degrees of freedom. And the last one is F test. So the F distribution is listed where we have different values of alpha and different values of mu2, which is again the degrees of freedom. The mu1 degrees of freedom are over here. So there are 2 degrees of freedom associated over here. Okay, and that's all we have. So all the different kinds of distributions are there. Oh, this will use some different kinds of probabilities and will not go into it. So that's how you can read these charts, and we'll end over here. In next video, we can start going into using these distributions and apply on null hypothesis testing, etc. Thank you.